Hello friends. Now let's move to the next topic in indifference curve analysis, that is indifference map. So students, previously we were talking about indifference curve analysis, which was ordinal approach. Hicks and Allen propounded it and applicable to normal goods. And the statement was various combination of two goods that gives same level of satisfaction. So you select any combination, your satisfaction will remain same. And the curve for indifference curve, if you see, was downward sloping and it was convex. So we had discussed three things. When marginal rate of substitution is decreasing, you will get a convex curve. When marginal rate of substitution is increasing, you will get a concave curve. And when it is constant, you get a curve that will be a straight line. Now let's move to the next, that is indifference map. Now what is this indifference map? A set or a family of indifference curve, which means now more than one IC you will be able to see. So a set or a family of indifference curve will give you indifference map. So if you are able to see, this is your IC1, IC2 and IC3. So three different IC curves. Now the curve which is far from the origin, I am talking about this, the curve which is far from the origin will have a higher satisfaction, and the curve which is near to the origin will have lower satisfaction. So students, this is nothing but, this is your 10 jeans and 10 t-shirts, 7 jeans and 7 t-shirts, 5 jeans and 5 t-shirts. The combination which gives you higher satisfaction will be away from the origin. Now, in this, you have to understand point A, B, point P, S, point R, M. So, points on the same curve will have same satisfaction, but points on the different IC will have different satisfaction. Like A, B, A is equals to B because point A satisfaction is equal to point B satisfaction because they are on the same IC. P will be equal to S, R will be equal to M. But A equals to P equals to R, this will be wrong, since they are not sitting on same IC. So points on the same curve, same satisfaction, but the points on the different curve, different satisfaction. And we will select that point, or we will select that curve where the satisfaction is highest. So this is nothing but indifference map. A set or a family of indifference curve will give you indifference map. Now moving to the next, that is properties of IC. First property says indifference curve is downward sloping and convex. It is nothing but this. It is downward sloping and convex. Second property, they say higher IC gives higher satisfaction, lower IC gives lower satisfaction. Your third property, two indifference curve cannot intersect each other or will never intersect each other. Like this is IC1, this is IC2. If you observe in this, I will increase the font size. इसमें दाग लगा है ना. So I was telling 2 IC will not intersect each other. This is your IC1, IC2. This is your point A, point B, point C. Now can I say point A is sitting on both the IC, that is IC1 as well as IC2. Point B is sitting on IC1, point C is sitting on IC2. So I would say A is equals to B. This is correct because they both are on same IC. A is equals to C. This is also correct. But B is not equal to C. Why? Because they are not sitting on same indifference curve. So points on the same curve, same satisfaction. But points, different curve, different satisfaction. So please remember, two IC will never intersect each other. Next is, indifference curve will not touch the axis. It means this situation you won't be able to see. This will not happen because we want a combination of two goods. Moment it will touch, you will have more of one and zero of other. So that is not possible. So two IC will never intersect each other, and this is, they are saying, indifference curve will not touch the axis. Now moving to the next concept, that is price line or budget line. Now what is this budget line? What is this price line? Now students, till now we are talking about satisfaction. We are talking about satisfaction, that higher satisfaction, same satisfaction. But you will derive satisfaction only when you buy that commodity. So in order to buy that commodity, you should have money. That is nothing but your budget. So your commodity, your budget should be equal to the price of the commodity. Now budget line will be represented as a downward sloping line. I would say AB. Now point K is inside the budget line, point M is on budget line, and point S is away from the budget line. Now can I say this blue line AB is your budget line, that is nothing but your budget. So point M is on your budget line, which means you can definitely purchase point M. Because if your budget is 1000, then price of M will be 1000. Point K is below your budget line. It's below your budget, which means your budget is 1000, price of K would be 500. You can 100% buy it. There's no problem. But point S is away from your budget because it is expensive. It could be 2000 rupees. But if given a choice, can I say we will select point S? Because the point which is far will always give you higher satisfaction. But can I say it is away from the budget? It is far more expensive than your budget. So I would put it in this way, point S. Point S is desirable but not achievable. Point K is achievable but not desirable because satisfaction is lowest. But point M, since it is on our budget line, the best alternative after K and S, before S, would be point M. So please remember, satisfaction you will derive only when you have that much money or a budget to buy that commodity. This was your budget line. So slope of budget line is represented as price of X upon price of Y. Minus sign will indicate negative slope. Slope of the curve is negative, so it is minus. So various combination of two goods which an individual or a consumer can buy with its given money income, with its given budget. So this was your budget line. Now coming to the next, that is consumer equilibrium. Now students, in this diagram if you see, first of all the topic is consumer's equilibrium, at which point consumer will stop. So consumer will stop at that point where his satisfaction is equal to its budget. Like marginal utility of x upon marginal utility of y should be equal to price of x upon price of y. Marginal utility denotes satisfaction here for both product x and y. Now if you look at the diagram, in this diagram there is an indifference map, IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4, and then there is a red color downward sloping line, that is budget line. So pay attention. Now say example, if I talk about point S, point R, point E, point P and point J. So are you able to see 5 points on budget line? Yes. Can I select any of the point? Answer is yes, because they are on my budget line. मतलब मैं उसको definitely खरीद सकता है. But now we have to see, or we have to find that combination where price should be less, or I would say it should be on your budget but satisfaction should be more. Now if I select point S is on my budget line but satisfaction is the lowest because it is sitting on IC1. Same goes with J. It is on my budget but satisfaction is lowest. Point R and point P, they are sitting on IC2. They are on my budget line but still satisfaction is less. Why? Because there is a curve, that is IC3, which is tangent to budget line at point E. And students, point E is also sitting on my budget line. But can I say, if given a choice, we will always desire IC4? But IC4 is away from my budget. IC4 is away from my budget. So it is desirable but not achievable. So next best point after IC4, or next best curve after IC4 is IC3. And IC3 has which point? Point E. So students, point E becomes consumer's equilibrium point because its satisfaction is equal to its budget. IC3 is tangent to budget line at point E. So consumer will be very happy at point E and he will be in no mood to rearrange its position. He will continue at point E. So finally consumer equilibrium point is point E. Now in this there is a very small concept, that is exception to IC indifference का. Perfect substitutes, MRS will be constant. So in case of perfect substitutes, you will get a IC will be downward sloping straight line. Because see students, substitutes are available, perfect substitutes are not available. 100% same, exactly homogeneous, not possible. So substitutes are possible, but perfect substitutes, in case if they are there, then the MRS will be constant. So shape of IC when products are perfect substitutes, it should be downward sloping, linear straight line. Next, suppose if they ask perfect complements, I would say MRS is 0 and the shape of IC will be L shape. Shape of IC will be L shape. This is your IC. So I would say a right leg shoe and a left leg shoe represents perfect complements. Like say example, if I have 5 right leg shoes and if I have 10 left leg shoes, then that combination is not going to work. So if I increase my left leg shoes, I will increase my right leg shoes as well. So you get a L shape IC, and L shape IC represents perfect complements. But students, this was exception to IC. So students, this completes your consumer behavior. So in this, your focus area should be consumer surplus, law of DMU, then indifference curve analysis, indifference map, budget line. Focus more on these areas. Now we are going to begin with a new topic, that is demand forecasting, again from chapter number 2 itself. So this will be the last part of your chapter number 2, that is demand forecasting. Pause. Now coming to the last part of chapter number 2, that is Demand forecasting, this is again a new topic. Now, what is the meaning of demand forecasting? See, students, forecasting means anticipating future changes which may take place. Demand forecasting means I am estimating demand changes which are going to take place in future. Whether demand for my commodity will be more, will be less, my company's profits will increase, may remain stagnant, what? So basically, it's a kind of speculation I'm doing. I'm trying to forecast, keeping in mind the present trends as well as past trends. But here you have to understand demand forecasting is anticipated, it is estimated, it is approximate. It cannot be 100% accurate. And demand forecasting could be done at local level as well as international level. Depends upon which type of business and where your business has been spread out. Now, coming to usefulness of demand forecasting, in which all areas this concept is used. First, it is used in production planning. Now festival season is about to start, and now companies and retailers will start planning that how much inventory or how much stock or how much goods will be needed, and accordingly manufacturers will start producing that commodity. There should not be overproduction, neither underproduction. Second, it helps in inventory control. Too much of overstocking is bad, too much of understocking is also bad. So if my godowns are full with goods, and if that product is a fashionable product, cyclical product, and if demand changes, my business will be at loss. So there should be a reasonable level of inventory. For that, I need to have my calculation proper. Forecasting should be done keeping in mind past and the present trends. Then it will help in sales forecasting. How much revenue we will earn in next 6 months, how much business will happen, how much sales will take place, what will be company's profits. So basically this will talk about the new business which is going to come. Next is capital investment, capex, a big money business is planning to invest in a particular project. But before investing, he will have a blueprint, he will have a complete calculation that how much returns they can expect in near future if this capital investment is been done. Next is it helps in control of business. So today if you plan how much quantity of certain things will be needed, staff will be needed, how much resources will be needed, it will actually help in controlling the budget of the business. So 5 things: production planning, inventory control, sales forecasting, capital investment, and last is your control of business. Now moving to the methods of forecasting. This is very important, students. MCQs will be asked from this area. First is survey of buyer's intention. Listen carefully. Here forecasting is done taking the help of the prospective buyers. Now what company is going to do? Company is going to take feedback, information from the customers itself, which means here the burden of forecasting falls on the customer. So here either company will go for complete enumeration, which means asking each and every customer, taking feedback from each and every customer, or company may go through sample survey. A handful selected consumers and customers will be selected, opinion and feedbacks will be taken. Now whatever feedback customer gives, accordingly future demand and future changes are forecasted. Now students, this method is time consuming, this method is expensive, and buyer's opinion may change, subjective. So this method may not be that successful, but still company feels, since the information is coming directly from the user, so it is also known as end use method. also known as what? End use method. So here the burden was completely on buyer. That is survey of buyer's intention. Next is collective opinion method, which is also known as sales force opinion method or grassroots method. Now your company is going to ask, or company is going to collect information and data from his sales team who have been located in different territories. Company is going to take feedback that how much sales they are going to do or how much business they are going to generate in their respective territories, because the salesman regularly meets the customers. He knows customer touch points, where to meet, how frequently customer comes to buy the product. He is in a constant touch with dealers and shopkeepers. So actually taking decision inside four walls will be difficult. So the management of the company feels the one who is working on the field, the one who is interacting with the customer, let's take opinion from him. But the problem again remains same, that this method will be highly subjective. If I am a salesman of a company, my opinion will differ from other salesmen. I may give a feedback that change the packaging, change the color of the product, reduce the price. Someone else will tell something else. So if our views and opinions and feedback is not matching, then company will be in a trouble. Company will won't be able to decide what decisions we need to take. But under collective opinion method, the burden of forecasting is on salesmen or sales force of that company. Next comes expert opinion method, which is also known as Delphi, which is also known as Delphi method. Another name for expert opinion. Concept given by Olaf Hamler. Please remember this. This could be an MCQ. The concept of expert opinion method or Delphi method is given by which person? Olaf Hamler. Now here, company is not going to ask customers, neither is going to ask salesmen. Here, experts will be called, consultants, retired CEOs from the same company or maybe from the different company, because they are veterans, they are highly experienced. So consultants, retired people from the same industry will be called and discussions will be done. And whatever feedback, opinion, knowledge, information they will give, that will be recorded, because they have already seen all this phase in their lifetime. So they will be able to give us a better inputs, what should be our future strategies. Is there any need to launch a new product? Should we discontinue the product? Should we start launching product in new markets? Should we give discounts? So all this brainstorming will be done. There will be a panel of experts which will discuss. This is a time saving method. Work is done fast. So that is nothing but your which opinion? Expert opinion method. That is nothing but your expert opinion method. Next comes is controlled experiments. Now here what company will do? Here company is going to bring some changes in the existing product. Maybe packaging, price will change, shape of the product may change, or they will launch a new advertisement. Small changes they will do. And then observations will be done. Okay, what is the response from the consumers? Are they buying more? Are they buying less? Have they stopped buying? Are they preferring competitors' product? Is the response positive or negative? So basically this is a market experiment method. By bringing few changes in the product, observations will be made and accordingly forecasting will be done, that should we continue with the existing strategy or we should change our strategy. That is nothing but your controlled experiments, also known as market experiment method. Second last method is your barometric method. Now here, past data, past information is irrelevant. In barometric method, past changes are not considered. What they consider is present changes or present situation is going to decide future. So whatever is going to happen today, that will ultimately decide what is going to happen in future. So your past information, past knowledge, past data is not being considered. What is being considered is present situation will decide our future. So in barometric method also they have given three things which we people have already done in chapter number 5, like coincidental indicators, leading indicators, and third is lagging indicators. So when economy or when indicator changes along with the economy changes, then I would say it is coincidental. GDP inflation is the example. So when indicator changes before the economy changes, I would say it is leading indicator. Please remember the word, it changes before the economy changes. Like stock price, profits of the company. Third is lagging indicator. Indicator which changes after the economy changes. So one first coincidental is along with the economy, leading is before the economy, lagging is after the economy. So that will come under barometric method, where past consideration is not taken, past information, past feedback is not taken, present situation will be considered, that will help us to forecast future. So total 5 methods we have done. Survey of buyer's intention, where the burden of forecasting falls on the buyer. Then you have collective opinion method, that is burden will fall on the salesman of that company. So in his territory how much business is going to generate, that they will discuss. Expert opinion, which is also known as Delphi method. Don't forget name of the person, Olaf Hamler. Controlled experiments, which is also known as market experiment method. And barometric method, where past changes are not considered, only present situation will decide future. Then they had 3 indicators: coincidental, along with the economy; leading, before the economy; lagging, after the economy. Now moving to the last part, that is statistical methods. Now in this, first is trend projection method. Now students, this statistical methods compared to the previous 5 what we did, compared to the previous 5 methods, the statistical methods are more superior, more scientific, more reliable, because your data, numbers, numericals will be used to determine or to forecast certain trends. Now first in this is trend projection method. Now here what company does, company will collect data about sales. Which data? Past data about sales, maybe last 3 years, maybe last 5 years. And that information and data will be arranged in a chronological order. And then facts, figures, analysis will be done about the future demand of the product. Like in last 3 years, if the trend shows that sales have increased, we may anticipate that in future also the trend may remain same. It's a very classical method, very old method of forecasting. Next is graphical method. Now in graphical method, whatever data which was collected and arranged in a chronological order, that data will be put in a graph and a freehand curve will be drawn, frequency polygon, maybe histogram, pie diagram, multiple bar diagram, it could be anything. So freehand curve will be drawn and that will actually show you the trend, where exactly the figures and numbers, where exactly the chart is going. But the drawback of this method is it will help you to show the trend, but it will not measure it. Next is your least square method. Now under least square method, company goes on one with assumption like past changes are going to continue in future. Simple. Past changes are going to continue in future. In last 5 years, if situation was bad, future also looks little weak. In the past 5 years, my sales have increased 10%, so future will also be somewhere very much similar to that. So past rate of changes are going to continue in future. That is nothing but discussed in least square method. And this last they say regression analysis. Now under regression analysis, few factors will be variable, few factors will be constant. Keeping in mind certain factors constant, they will see what will be the impact on the quantity demand. So this was your statistical methods, trend projection, graphical, least square, and this was regression. So students, this is the end of your chapter number 2, and now we are going to start with the MCQs based on this chapter, theory of demand and supply. Thank you. Welcome back students. Now we are going to start with MCQs for chapter number 2. Let's start with the first MCQ. Question is, in economics, demand refers to. Now we have already done, it is a desire, it is an ability, it is a willingness to spend. But all three things should be under one point. So first says quantity demand at a particular time. Second, quantity demand backed by ability to pay. Third, all quantity demand for of all goods. And the last say quantity demand at a particular price in a given period of time. So if you can recall, I had told it's a relative concept related to price and time. Students, your most appropriate answer is D. Next, concept of demand demonstrates that. What it demonstrates? Demand is always with the reference to price, that is right? Demand is reference to the given period of time, true. Buyer's ability and willingness to pay, that is also correct. So all A, B and C are right. So your answer will be all of the above. Third, individual demand is also called as dash. So students, the correct answer is household demand is nothing but individual demand. Moving to the next now, dash means quantity demand of a good by a single consumer at various prices per unit of time. So we have done a single buyer buying a commodity at a given price at a point of time. That will be called as which demand? Individual demand. Next, dash means the aggregates of the quantity demanded by all consumers. Very important students, all consumers they are asking. Then it will be which demand? Market demand, many buyers. Next, dash is a tabular presentation showing different quantities demanded by buyer at different levels of price in a given period. So since they are talking about demand, it is demand schedule. Option B. Next is market demand is a sum total of all quantities that producers can produce. No. All quantities actually sold. No. All quantities demanded by individual households are consumers. So this is most appropriate answer. Answer C. Next is your demand of a good of several consumers when added together is called as which demand? When many buyers coming, it is market demand. Option B. When a good can be used to satisfy two or more wants, it's said to have dash demand. We have done this. Commodity which can be put to many uses, which can be used for multiple purpose. Electricity, water, wood. Which demand? Composite demand. Composite. Answer A. Next, if two goods are complementary, then rise in the price of one results in. Now, can I say car, petrol example we had taken? So, when price of car increases, demand for petrol will decrease. So, there will be a fall in demand for other. Next, they say when price of a commodity rises, the demand for it dash. When the price of a commodity rises, demand for it what? Contracts. Because I had told whenever they talk about price, it should be either expansion or contraction. Correct answer is contract. Moving to the next now. When the price of petrol goes up, demand for two-wheeler will dash. What happens when price of petrol goes up? Can I say price and two-wheeler are again complementary? If petrol becomes too expensive, people may not travel by two-wheeler or four-wheeler. So demand will fall. An increase in the income of consumer has a dash effect on the demand in general. As our income increases, can I say we will spend more? So higher the income, higher the demand. So relation is what? Positive. So correct answer is D, positive. Next, the demand for scooter and petrol is an example of dash demand. Two goods demanded simultaneously. Complementary goods have dash demand. Correct answer is joint demand. Moving to the next, 15th. Dash goods are those goods which are used for the production of other goods. I had given one example. In order to produce a chocolate, you need a chocolate maker. For getting a sugarcane juice, you need a sugarcane juice machine. So they are which goods? Producer goods. So producer goods will help you to produce some other goods. Moving to the 16th. Bread, milk, ready-made clothes, TV are the examples of the goods which we people use on daily basis. Consumer goods. Very simple. Next, the goods which cannot be consumed more than once, like milk, are known as dash goods. So students, once we consume like milk, butter, bread, they are basically non-durable consumer goods. They are non-durable consumer goods. So once it is gone, it is gone. You have to purchase a new one. Next is dash goods meets only our current demand. Dash goods meets only our current demand. So again it is non-durable. When demand of any good depends, moving to the 19th MCQ now, when the demand of any good depends upon the demand of other goods, it is said to have dash demand. Then it's said to have indirect demand, students. Like if machine was available, then shirt was produced. So they are dependent on each other. So indirect demand is also known as derived demand. Answer is B. Next, the total demand for steel in the country denotes dash demand. They are telling total demand of the steel, then I would say it is industry demand. Option A. Moving to the 21. If the demand for a product is independent of the demand of other goods, it is called as autonomous, not dependent. Then it is autonomous. Option C is correct. Moving to 22. The demand of any good reacts immediately to price change, income change. It is said to have dash demand. Immediate is the word. Students, immediate is the word. Immediately. Then I would say it is short run. Next, when we draw a market demand curve, we dash. Do not consider taste, income and all prices. Assume that taste, income and all other prices changes in the same way price changes. Assume that taste, income and all other prices are irrelevant. The most appropriate answer C. Assume that taste, income and all other prices remain same. It remains same. So all other things remains constant. Moving to the next. If a fall in price of Y in a decrease results in a decrease in a sale of X, the two goods appear to be. So if price of one commodity decreases, then demand for other commodity also decreases, because now people are going to buy the first product whose price has gone down. People will not buy its substitute. Then this is an example of which goods? Substitute goods. Option A. Next, dash goods are the goods which can be used with equal case in place of each other. So if one is not available, I will go with another. If Coke is not available, I will go with Pepsi. Then they are again which goods? Substitute goods. Moving to the next now, that is 26. If the demand rises with the rise in consumers' real income, such a good is called as my income increases, I will buy more of superior goods. As my income increases, I will buy more of branded goods, luxury goods, because they have again direct relation. Luxury goods is the answer, D. Moving to 27. Giffen goods are known as very simple inferior goods. 28. As a consumer's income increases, the demand for necessaries of life will increase, dash to the increase in income. So yes, so last part we did, in fact in the previous video you will come to know that I had written necessaries and perishable goods have less elastic demand, that is they are relatively inelastic in nature. E will be less than 1. So the most appropriate answer is less than proportionate. Moving to the next, that is 29th. Now what 29 says, as the consumer's income increases, the demand for comforts and luxuries will increase. So it will be greater than 1, relatively elastic demand. So the option says more than proportionate. So please remember, this is E will be greater than 1. Here E will be less than 1. Next comes during boom period. boom means prosperity, good phase. During boom period in the economy, demand for goods in general rises because people will have more money and they will spend more. Moving to 31. In case of consumer, expects a steep rise in price of potatoes. In future, his current demand will also dash. So can I expect prices to rise in future? I had taken the example of gold. They have taken potatoes. So if we expect that potato price are going to rise in future, today we may buy more and we may keep it. So what will happen to the demand? Demand will rise. 32. If the government increases the rate of indirect taxes on goods and services, the demand for then will fall in general because higher the taxes, lower the demand. Next, if government reduces the tax on any product, the demand for the product is dash in short run. So lower the taxes, higher the demand. So it will rise. Next, 34. If the demand for petrol remains unchanged with the rise in the price, it means petrol is a dash product. Petrol is a dash product. Students, what will come? Can I say if the product is very important, it could be a necessity? Like if you are traveling by a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler every day, then filling up petrol becomes a necessity. Then they are which goods? Petrol becomes a necessity good. 35. If quantity demand of good X is plotted against the price of its substitute good Y, the demand curve will be. You please remember one thing. Substitute goods have direct relation. So their curve will be upward slope. Upward slope also represents positive slope. Moving to the 36. When the quantity of a good that a buyer demands rises, when there is a growth in the purchase of other individuals, by other individuals, such an effect is called as. Now students, what happens? This is basically called as demonstration, to imitate others, to copy others. When my neighbor is buying, looking at him, I am also buying. So I had already told in the previous video, demonstration effect is also known as bandwagon effect, to copy, to imitate others. Next, moving to the next now. 37. In case of normal goods, income effect is dash. Income effect is constant. EY equals to 1. So please remember, I have already discussed this before. EY will be equals to 1. That will be option D, constant. Next, income effect on demand of a good is dash. Positive for normal goods, negative for normal goods, always positive. Option D says always negative. Students, appropriate answer is positive for normal goods. See here. 39. Law of demand is explained by, it is very simple, cardinal approach. So you just have to remember it is law of demand, law of supply, consumer surplus, law of DMU, law of equimarginal. They all are cardinal approach. 40. The law of demand refers to functional relationship between. It is always price and demand. So when price increases, quantity demand decreases. So first it should be price, then it is demand. Next, the term ceteris paribus in the law of demand means All factors except one remains constant. And which is that one? Price. Price will not remain constant. All other factors will remain constant. Moving to the next. Which of the following is a variable and influencing factor in law of demand? So 42 say it is a price of a commodity, because here the word is variable, and I told you price is the only factor which will not remain constant. Moving to the next. 43. The phrase other things being equal in the law of demand means what they are trying to say. Income of the consumer remains unchanged. Price of a related goods remains unchanged. True. Taste and preference of a consumer remains unchanged. All three are correct. Then it is all of the above. Option D. Moving to the next. 44. The total effect of price change of a good is. So we had done substitution effect and income effect we had done. So most appropriate answer would be substitution effect and income effect, because ultimately it leads because of change in price. 45. Dash refers to the effect of change in the price of a product on the consumer's purchasing power. So please remember, when price of the commodity increases, consumers' real income decreases. So it will impact real income. Impact will be on real income. Moving to the next. 46. When the price of thumbs up falls, other things being constant, buyers substitute thumbs up for Coca-Cola. This is called, students, this is called substitution effect. In the question precisely it is given. They are jumping from one brand to another, one product to another. They are substitution. Moving to the next. That is 47. Dash refers to the buyer's reaction to a change in the relative price of two products, keeping the total utility constant. Now what they are trying to say? Dash refers to the buyer's reaction to a change in the relative price of two products. Students, two products means, can I say they are substitutes? Then it is which effect? Substitution effect. Price of one increases, demand for other will increase. 48. The law of demand can be explained by, most appropriate answer, law of DMU, law of diminishing marginal utility. Because indifference curve will not come, it is wrong. Moving to the next. 49. Downward slope. Downward slope of the demand curve shows, downward slope of the demand curve shows positive relation between price and quantity demand, inverse relationship between price and quantity demand, no relationship, fourth is none. Very simple. Downward slope always represents inverse relationship, because higher the price, lower the quantity demanded. Moving to the next. 50. Law of demand fails in case of, given goods is also correct, inferior goods is also correct. So most appropriate answer is D, both B and C, because they are exception to law. Their curve will be upward sloping. So they are not going with the law, they are going against the law. Moving to the next. 51. A given good is one which a small change in the price results in. A small change in the price results in zero income effect out weighted by a positive substitution effect, zero income effect weighted by a zero substitution effect, negative income effect weighted by a positive substitution effect. So please remember, as our income increases, demand for inferior goods will fall. So income and inferior goods have which relation? Negative relation. Most appropriate answer is C. Next, 52. Analysis of the relationship between demand of a commodity and price of a related commodity is percentage change in quantity demand of product A upon percentage change in price of product B. Can I say this was cross elasticity? So 52 answer is cross demand analysis. Moving to the next. Dash observed that when the price of inferior good falls, demand for such will fall. Very simple, Sir Robert Giffen. Next, the tendency of a low income group to imitate the consumption pattern of high income. Imitate. Again, it is coming to copy others. It is nothing but to demonstrate. Option A is right. Coming to 55. When the price changes and proportionate change in market demand is more than proportionate change in individual demand. See students, they are talking about greater than 1, and greater than 1 has which type of curve? Downward sloping flatter curve. So correct answer is option B, relatively elastic. Moving to the next, 56. A positively sloped demand curve implies exception they are talking. Violation of law of demand, true. Giffen good, yes. Income effect is negative and greater than substitution effect, true. Correct answer is all of the above. '57. An increase in consumers' income will increase demand for dash but decrease demand for. Now students, an increase in consumers' income will increase demand for normal goods and decrease the demand for inferior goods, because when my income increases, I will not buy poor quality goods. So correct answer is B. 58. Who explained the abnormal shape of demand curve for diamonds through the doctrine of conspicuous consumption? So students, in the previous video I had told Veblen goods, conspicuous goods, snob goods, prestige goods. This concept given by T. Veblen, that is Thorsten Veblen is the name of the person. He gave the concept of conspicuous goods. So please remember, conspicuous goods concept was given by T. Veblen. Next, 59. Elasticity of demand is defined as a responsiveness of the quantity demand of a good to a change in dash. Price of a commodity, price of related commodity, income. So can I say it is price as well as other factors? So all of the above. Moving to the next, 60, MCQ number 60. The concept of elasticity of demand whenever referred unless otherwise specified means. So students, please remember, if nothing is mentioned or if elasticity of demand is given without any qualification, it is always price elasticity of demand. It is always is what? Price elasticity of demand. Student, correct answer is option A, price elasticity of demand. Next, the concept of price elasticity of demand analysis. 61. First, direction of change in the response to change. degree of change in response to change in the price of the commodity. So correct answer is degree. So option B. To what extent demand will change? 62. When there is no change in quantity demand in response to change in price, it is a situation of dash. No change they are telling. Whatever be the situation, then the answer is zero price elasticity. This is nothing but your E equals to 0. Perfectly inelastic demand. Moving to the next. 63. Price elasticity demand is defined as. So what's the formula? The most appropriate formula, if you see properly, that is your option D. Change in quantity upon change in price into price upon quantity. Moving to the next. When the percentage change demand is less than percentage change in price, it is what? Less than unitary. 64. So it will be less than 1. Because here they are telling, what they are telling? Less than percentage change. The perfectly elastic is horizontal. Perfectly inelastic is equals to 0. More unitary greater than 1. Correct answer is less than unitary elastic. Moving to the next. When percentage change in demand is equal to percentage change, please remember this word equal indicates unitary. The most appropriate answer is what? Unitary. Next, 66. Price elasticity demand is always dash because of dash relationship between price and quantity demand. So please remember, price elasticity demand is always negative. Demand price have negative relation, and that is nothing but inverse. So correct answer is A. 67. When there is an infinite demand at a particular price and demand becomes 0 with the slight rise in the price, then I would say commodity is perfectly elastic. Absolutely yes. ED is infinite. True. Demand curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. Very true. All three are correct. They are talking about infinite. 68. When percentage the quantity demand is more than percentage change in price, greater than 1 they are telling. So demand is highly elastic. That is true. ED greater than 1, demand curve is flatter. That is also correct. So most appropriate is only A and B, because less than 1 is wrong. Here they are telling what? More. 69. When the demand curve is parallel to x-axis, elasticity of demand is horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis is your infinite. Option D is correct. Moving to the 70th now. Now moving to the 70th MCQ, 70. Question is, which curve is called rectangular hyperbola? So can I say it is unitary elastic demand? Very simple. Option C is correct, unitary elastic demand, rectangular hyperbola. Coming to 71, a demand curve is perfectly inelastic if a rise in price causes a fall in quantity demand. A fall in price causes rise in sellers total receipt? No. The commodity in question is very perishable? No. Change in price does not change quantity demand. Perfectly inelastic means, students, they are talking about E equals to 0. Vertical straight line, no change. So the most appropriate answer is D. Does not change. Moving to the next, that is 72. When demand curve is a vertical straight line, answer is given here. It is perfectly inelastic. Very simple. Next, 73. If the demand of a commodity is less elastic, students, less elastic means inelastic. The demand curve will be dash. So it will be downward sloping to the right, steeper. So they are talking about E less than 1. Which slope? Steeper slope. 74. If you spend more on rent than on soap, your price elasticity demand for housing is likely to be greater than your price elasticity demand for a soap, less than your price elasticity of demand for soap, equal to your price elasticity demand for soap, none. Students, here the word they are mentioning, I am spending more, so it will of course will be greater. So option A is correct. 75 now. The demand for common salt has a low price elasticity. Students, low price elasticity means inelastic. Low price means it is inelastic. So can I say a common salt occupies a very small part of our budget? So the appropriate answer is it constitute, or if I put it in a better way, if you observe other options, so I would say it has no close substitute because salt is given, it is a necessity, that is right. It constitutes on a small part. All of the above is given. So correct answer is all of the above. 75 is all of the above. Next, the devaluation of currency would increase the export earning only when the demand for the nation's export in the foreign market is. Now, students, devaluation means fall in the value of home currency, that is our rupee. And this devaluation activity is deliberately done by government and RBI. Why? So that our import reduces and our export increases. Now, say example, if the product is inelastic in nature, even if you don't do devaluation, still people will buy and our exports will increase. But the product demand is elastic and I want to sell more in other countries, then I have to devalue my currency. So then my product, which is of elastic nature, will have a greater demand in world market. Correct answer is elastic. 76 is elastic. 77, elasticity is greater than unity. Greater than unity means, students, they are telling E is greater than 1. That is applicable to which type of goods? Luxury goods. Complementary goods exhibit dash elasticity. So I would say they are inelastic because you buy a car, you have to buy a petrol. So low elasticity, inelastic, both are same. Correct answer is low. Option A is correct for 78. Next is all but one of the following commodity has elastic demand. Which one has inelastic demand? Very important. So can I say electricity has inelastic demand? I am very sorry, they have given cigarettes also. So a person who is habituated, for him it will become inelastic. So the most appropriate answer is cigarettes. Next, that is your MCQ number, one second, 80. Now let's see what this 80 is trying to say. Demand is dash in the long period than in short period. So students, I had already explained in the previous video. In long run, it is always elastic because you have ample time to understand the market. Short run, it is always inelastic. So I would say it is more elastic. 81. If the demand for a commodity is dashed, the entire burden of indirect tax will fall on the consumer. So correct answer is perfectly inelastic because that product will be very important. So option B is correct. 82. Which of the following helps the manager to estimate the demand for a commodity? So 82. Price of a commodity, price of substitute commodity, elasticity of commodity. All three are correct. Answer is all of the above. Next is, if demand is dash, then price cut will dash spending. So please remember 83, what they are trying to say. If demand is elastic, then price cut means you are giving discount, will increase the spending. Like if there is a discount given on luxury products, can I say luxury products and superior products are elastic? And moment there is a 50% off, 60% off, people tend to buy more. Correct answer is elastic and increase. Suppose the demand for dosa at Dosa Plaza is elastic. If the owner of the restaurant is considering raising the price, it can expect relatively. Now students, this is a medium priced commodity. So there will be a larger fall in quantity demand. Next, if a 10% rise in the price of the commodity causes the demand to fall by 20%, is there a change in the demand? Answer is yes. Price is increasing by 10%, demand is decreasing by 20%. If there is a change, and I have told responsiveness to change is elastic. So demand was elastic. Option A. This should be inelastic, students. By mistake twice it got printed. The correct answer is demand was elastic. Next, on a typical straight line demand curve, the elastic demand at a point where it meets the price axis. So just to give you a recall, if you remember, we had done this. I told they will ask downward sloping straight line linear demand curve touching price axis. This was nothing but showing E is infinite. So correct answer is infinity, infinite change. 87 now. To measure price elasticity over large change in prices we use. See, small, tiny, negligible point elasticity, but a large or a substantial change, I had told, arc elasticity method will be used. The most appropriate answer is arc. Please understand, large change. Next, 88. If the demand for a good is elastic, an increase in its price will cause the total expenditure of the consumer of a good to dash. Students, 88. Product is elastic, they are telling, which means the product may not be that important. And if price increases too much, which means if our luxury goods becomes expensive, people may not buy, people may postpone, people may reduce their purchase. So in short, what will happen to the demand? Demand will decrease. 89. All but one are the commodities that have both utility and usefulness. All but one out of all this, which is not having utility and usefulness. So 89 answer is tobacco. Tobacco has utility, but it has no usefulness. Next, 90. Utility is subjective and relative concept. We have done morally, ethically colorless. True. Different from pleasure. Correct answer is all of the above. So 89 is Delhi, D. Moving to 91, the utility of a commodity is dash. So what they have given, it's accepted social value, extent to which it is of practical use, the phase that it is wanted by some people. So can I say people will demand only that commodity in which they find what? Utility. It is relatively scarce. Correct answer is C. Next, 92, the cardinal approach prosecutes that utility can be, answer is measured. Moving to the next, cardinal approach theory was associated with our own Alfred Marshall. He gave a concept of cardinal approach. 94 now. Cardinal utility approach is also known as, see students, indifference curve was ordinal. Hicks and Allen again ordinal. So most appropriate answer is marginal utility analysis. Marginal utility approach is also called dash. Again exactly same like the previous one, cardinal utility analysis. Moving to 96. Cardinal measure of utility is required in dash. Indifferent curve theory, no. Revealed preference theory, no. Marginal utility theory is most appropriate. So 96 is A. 97. Which of the theories is applicable under cardinal approach to utility? So I told you law of DMU, law of EMU, consumer surplus, all are cardinal. Very simple answer is all of the above. 98. All but one are the assumption. Out of this, which is not, they are asking. Which one is not the assumption? Rational consumer is true. Constant marginal utility of money is true. Perfect competitive market is an odd man out. This is not a part. Next, which of the following assumption ignores the presence of complementary and substitute goods in cardinal utility theory? Rational consumer, constant marginal utility money, independent utilities they are telling. So this is wrong. Students, the most appropriate answer should be none of the above, because here they are telling which ignores. So all three are supporting. None of the above is the answer. Next, 100. The price that a consumer is ready to pay for a commodity represents the utility he is expecting from the commodity. Means utility is measurable. Utility is not measurable. Wrong. Money is a measuring rod of utility. That is true. So the correct answer is both A and C. B is wrong. 101. Consumer makes all calculation carefully and then purchase the commodity in order to maximize his utility. Means consumer is a rational consumer, the one who aims for maximum satisfaction. Correct answer is B for 101. Next is 102. Which of the following statement regarding ordinal utility is true? So what I had taught you in indifference curve, in ordinal utility can be ranked, it cannot be measured. So most appropriate answer is D. Utility cannot be measured, but it can be ranked in order of preference. Moving to the next, 103 now. What is this 103? Marginal utility can be stated by additional utility derived from additional unit of a commodity. Very true. TUN minus TUN minus 1. That is correct. So the answer is both A and B. For 103, C is the answer. Next, 104. Utility of a good can be termed as dash. So can I say utility is basically talking about satisfaction? So the satisfaction of a consumer derives that the consumption of a particular commodity. So C option is most appropriate. Moving to the next, supply of perishable goods is dash. Correct answer is perfectly inelastic, and I had told you in the previous video, land, rare articles, perishable goods have perfectly inelastic supply, and it is not in the list. So we will say it is none of the above. Moving to the next, supply function of commodities given by. The moment you calculate, you will get the answer as 38. This you can do very easy. 107. When the price of the commodity falls by 20%, quantity supplied falls by 25%, then the price elastic supply is, use a simple formula, percentage change in quantity supplied upon percentage change in price. 25% divided by 20%, you get the answer. So what's the answer? Let's calculate. 25% divided by 20%, your answer is 1.25. $1.25 is the answer. Next is supply is dash. 108. Limited resource that are available with the seller? No. Cost of producing? No. Entire relationship between quantity supplied and the price of a commodity is the most appropriate answer. So for 108 it is C. Moving to the next, that is a perfectly inelastic supply curve shooting from x-axis shows. Shooting from x-axis. I will just give you a reminder of this diagram. Yesterday we had done this. Shooting from x-axis is nothing but E is less than 1. E is less than 1, students. So 109 is constant supply at lower price. Next, 110. What is incorrect about advertisement elasticity? It is the responsiveness of goods demand to change in the firm's expenditure on advertising. It is also called promotional elasticity of demand. Advertising elastic demand is typically positive. All of the above. So students, here there is a small correction. None should be the answer because all three are correct. It is the response of goods demand expenditure advertisement. They are asking what is incorrect. So correct answer is none. Please do the correction. 111. All but one are correct about demand forecasting. Which one is not correct? So demand forecasting is an art and science of predicting probable demand of a product in the future. So this is true. Just now we did. Demand forecasting is simple guesses. No. It considers past behavior and prevailing trends. That's right. Demand forecasting plays an important role in planning and decision making. That is also right. So which one is wrong? Second. That is option B. Moving to the next. The burden of forecasting is put on customers in dash method of demand forecasting. Just now we did survey of buyer's intention. Delphi method was developed by expert opinion method. What's the name of the person? Olaf Hamler. Very easy. Dash method of forecasting is useful in use of capital goods. So So students, correct answer is survey of buyer's intention. Moving to the next, consider demand function Q is equals to 100 minus 0.5p. The inverse function. Inverse means anything 1 upon that equation. So your correct answer is B. Very simple. Price of blue jeans and demand for black jeans are shown by which diagram? Students, here blue jeans and black jeans represent substitute goods. And substitute goods have which relation? Direct relation. So curve will be upward slope. Upward slope means positive slope. So already they have given in the option. Which of the following could provide an example of exceptional demand curve? Given goods, yes. Demand based on fear of future price in rise. I expect price to rise. Demand, my present demand will also rise. Yes. Demand for second hand clothes. Second hand clothes are nothing but inferior again. And demand for daily newspaper, answer is no. So answer is 1, 2 and 3. Because newspaper price increases, newspaper price decreases, our demand is also always going to remain same. Next, if two commodities are substitutes, a change in price of one, ceteris paribus, causes a change in the quantity purchased of the other. In same direction, in a significant manner, in an opposite direction, none. So students, please understand, they are talking about substitutes. When price of tea increases, demand for coffee will increase. They are going in same direction. So answer is A. The price elasticity of demand for cake is, let's go one by one. The change in the quantity demand of cake when cake increases by 60 paisa per rupee. Percentage increase in the quantity demand of a cake when the price of the cake falls by percent per rupee. Increase in demand for cake when the price of the cake falls by 10% per rupee. Decrease in the quantity demand for cake when the price of the cake falls by 1% per rupee. Students, the correct answer is B. Because when you talk about the price, it should always be quantity demand. And price and quantity demand has which relation? Inverse relation. Moving to the next, a business firm recently decreased price by 50%, assuming no other change, and if the elasticity of demand is unitary, total revenue will be, students, very important, the word they have used is unitary. Unitary means uniform, same, equal, unchanged. So it will remain unchanged. Demand will remain same. Name the economist to develop marginal utility and indifference curve. So students, marginal utility is Alfred Marshall, and indifference curve is given by Hicks, Allen. So most appropriate is in this option C. You have Marshall also, you have Hicks also. So this is most correct. 121 is C. 122, the statement A equals to B is equals to 80. Utility implies. Now can I say here numbers have been used? So using numbers means cardinal approach. Correct answer is Bombay, P. Now moving to the next. Find out total utility for 4 units of the goods when quantity demand are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with respective marginal utilities as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very simple. So how it is done? Pay attention. I will take as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your quantity. Then I will take marginal utility as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what they are asking? They are asking for 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you add till 4 units, 5 plus 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Answer is 14. So correct answer is B, 14 units. Very simple. Next is assume that utility can be measured in rupees from the utility schedule. Find out how many cakes the consumer would consume at the price of rupees 9 per cake. So now students, if you take the difference, 45 minus 30 is 15. Then 54 minus 45 is 9. So at third unit, I would say price is 9. See, third unit price is 9. So the correct answer is your option B, 3. Very simple. Moving to the next. Consumer surplus is what is the price before discount minus? No. What a consumer is ready to pay minus what he actually pays? Yes, this is the formula definition. Next is maximum consumer surplus arises on dash of the commodity consumed. First unit of the commodity consumed, because marginal utility is highest in first unit. 127 now. Consumer has no consumer surplus on dash of the commodity consumed. So that is last unit. Consumer surplus arises because option C. Look at option C. Consumer receives more than what he pays. Price ready to pay minus price actually paid. Extra utility is getting. Consumer surplus is the difference between, very simple, see again, price that consumer is willing to pay, price actually paid. 130. Consumer surplus is best described as, in that thing we had discussed, known as extra utility. Very simple. Consumer surplus is highest in case of, now tell me it is highest in case of necessaries. Don't take conventional necessaries. Necessaries is correct. The concept consumer surplus is useful for which policy? Tax policy. Is it in the option? Yes. Option D. For 132 it is D. 133. Marginal utility of goods A and B are 600 and 900. The price of good B is rupees 120 if the consumer is in equilibrium. Price of the good A is, students, you will use this formula, ME of A upon ME of B equals to price of A upon price of B. Just substitute the number, you get the answer for this. And here the correct answer is C, that is rupees 80. Next is also same. I will write formula for you. Marginal utility of X upon marginal utility of Y equals to price of X upon price of Y. Substitute the numbers. Find the one which is not given. Here you will get the answer as 750. So students, this is the end of your chapter 2 MCQs and end of your chapter 2. This much you have to revise thoroughly and go. This was a part of your super 500 MCQs. Now we will start with the third chapter, that is theory of production and cost. Thank you.